In keeping with our tradition, I will now bow to my right and bow to my left. And having done so, I will now request the delegates to observe a moment of silence for prayer or meditation. Thank you very much. Honorable delegates, before we proceed, I would like to remind you of the following: that the virtual sitting constitutes a sitting of the National Council of Provinces, that the place of the sitting is deemed to be Cape Town, where the seat of the National Council of Provinces is, that delegates in the virtual sitting enjoy the same powers and privileges that apply in a sitting of the National Council of Provinces, that for the purpose of the quorum, all delegates are logged onto the virtual platform and shall be considered to be present. That delegates must always switch on their videos when addressing the chair. That delegates should ensure that the microphones on their gadgets are muted and must always remain muted. That the interpretation facility is active, and that any delegate who wishes to speak must use the raise your hand or the hand function. Honorable delegates, in accordance with Council Rule 2471, there will be no notice of motion or motions without notice. Honorable delegates, before we proceed to questions, I would like to take this opportunity to welcome the Deputy President of the Republic, as well as all the premiers that may be on the platform. Further, I would like to make the following remarks: that the time for reply by the Deputy President to a question is 5 minutes, that only 4 supplementary questions are allowed per question, that a member who has asked the initial question will be the first to be afforded an opportunity to ask the supplementary question, that the time for asking a supplementary question is 2 minutes, that the time for reply to a supplementary question is 4 minutes, and that the supplementary question must emanate from the initial question, as we all know. Having gone through these steps, we'll now proceed to the question paper. The first question is question 7, and the question is on progress on interventions to address service delivery. This question has been tabled by Honorable Dodovu and is directed to the Deputy President. I now call on the Honorable Deputy President to respond to question number 7. Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. We have placed building a capable and ethical state as the first priority of government. In this regard, we are piloting the district development model as a whole of government intervention to coordinate and integrate development plans, budgets, and mobilize all sectors of society in pursuit of an inclusive growth and job creation. This seeks to solve the horizontal and vertical silos in government planning and in the provision of integrated services. This model through this model, we are able to effectively track the intergovernmental relations, misalignment in government programs, duplication of services that lead to wastages of resources, and risk associated with poor planning. And collectively, these often result into poor service delivery interventions at local level. This model further enables government to profile all districts in order to proactively identify priority districts and hotspots in the need of urgent attention. As a result, government through the Department of Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs is bolstering municipalities' internal capacity to plan, to deliver, operate, and maintain bulk services. Part of the challenges previously raised in the NCOP, which led to our ongoing intervention in Maluta Pofo, were protests as a result of disruption of services like water, electricity, and sanitation. Our experience thus far from the oversight visits that we have undertaken, as well as our interactions with local structures and provincial administrations, reaffirm the effective intervention to address provision of services which requires leadership and personnel with the requisite skills. Apart from the governance challenges resulting in the municipality being placed under administration, its prevailing distance between leadership of the municipality and the people. That is why part of our focus has been on facilitating intergovernmental collaboration, reinforcing public participation in resolving prevailing challenges in the municipality. We are hopeful that this will continue, more so as the municipality implements the court order around the provision of electricity, its management going forward. These multi-sectoral partnerships are critical in monitoring the implementation of intervention being made, as well as servicing early warning mechanisms. Any solution to prevailing challenges should be championed by the residents of the municipality to ensure their sustainability. This has been our emphasis during our engagement with the local communities, structures, and opposition parties in the municipality. While the issue of reliable provision of water has been one of the pressing issues in the municipality due to constant interruptions of electricity, we found that sustainable resolution of this issue will depend on resolving the municipal escalating debt to Escom. In this regard, process is underway to finalize the service level agreement between the municipality and Escom, including modalities for collections of revenue as directed by the court on the 8th of June this month. This will result in sustainable resolution of the municipal outstanding and escalating debt, which impact on reliable provision of water, sanitation, and other basic services. As public participation process on the details of this agreement has begun, and we expect this agreement to be signed before the end of the month. We have also directed that the construction of the Elizabeth Rose substation that will assist the municipality to deload substations within the proximity, that to be fast-tracked by addressing the issue of exceeding the notified maximum demand that results in unsustainable penalties to the municipality. Further, bulk water supply has been identified as another challenge experienced by the municipality. Efforts are underway to link the municipality's current 3 water supply systems, which include Metsi-Matso Dam, Sterfontein Dam, and Fika Patso Dam. This will ensure that When one part of the system fails to supply water, the other one can augment supply, thus ensuring continuous water provision in the municipality. I can see, Chairperson, you are now. Time has expired.
Deputy President, but I can allow you to conclude.
Our intervention team will undertake a visit to Sterkfontein Dam to track progress on this project that is meant to ensure sustainable supply of potable water to the Greater Harrismith and Kwakwa areas. The municipality is also attending to the challenges of aged infrastructure that leads to water losses and bulk line reticulation system within the residential areas. Chairperson, want to call upon our communities to desist from vandalizing the infrastructure that brings water, that brings electricity. Also calling upon our communities to pay for services, pay for the water that we consume, and pay for the electricity that we consume so that we are in a position to maintain the infrastructure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President. The first supplementary question comes from Honorable Todovu. Honorable Todovu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I want to thank the Deputy President for the elaborate response. Thank you very much for that, Honorable Deputy President. What is quite clear is that the challenges in Maluti-Apofu municipality are related to leadership challenges at political level, at management level, as well as at technical level. There is also a problem of a weak tax base, which affects many municipalities across the country. And the district development model seeks to address these particular challenges. In Maluti-Apofu, these challenges have created service delivery problems which led to protests. Just yesterday, there were lots of protests which were violent at Maluti-Apofu. Now, my question is, what are the plans that are in place from the side of government to tackle this particular problem of tax base affecting Maluti-Apofu and other municipalities and the leadership challenges as I asked? What is it that the government is doing in terms of the steps that it is taking? Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. The first step that we are taking as government is to bring all the spheres of government together through the district development model, which is the platform where we are going to design and plan for the interventions that we want to make. And we've succeeded to come up with one intervention to get the municipality and Escom to sign a service level agreement. Now, this service level agreement will ensure that there is electricity. And beyond that, it will ensure that there is water, because some of the water pumps, they use electricity. But beyond this process, we want to ensure that Escom steps in and collect revenue, so that the revenue that is collected, what is due to the municipality will be given to the municipality, and what is due to Escom will go to Escom, so that we deal with the debt crisis that the municipality is facing. And then we're going to attend to the water challenges and the sanitation. But all of us are going to utilize the district platform to interact, to plan, and to budget. That means local government, the district, the province, and the national government. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll then move on to the next question, Deputy President. Then the question comes from the GA, Honorable Professor. And the question is on Escom takeover of electricity distribution in municipalities. This question comes from Honorable Mikalakis and is directed to the Deputy President. Oh, sorry,
Chairperson.
sorry.
Chairperson.
We're at the point where we should get a second supplementary question from Honorable MC Fesser. Honorable Fesser, I will then proceed to the third supplementary question from Honorable SB Lihihi. Honorable Lihihi. There seems to be a problem there with Honorable Lihihi. We'll move on to the fourth supplementary question from Honorable M.X. Ngwezi. Honorable Ngwezi, I see the name of Honorable Karen Fesser on the screen. Honorable Fesser.
Honorable.
We'll start with Fesser before we go to Ngwezi. Honorable Fesser.
Maasagis. Oh my
Please
word.
proceed.
No sound. No sound.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hello?
You're audible, yeah. Please proceed.
Okay. Honorable Chair, I've got a problem here. I cannot hear anybody.
Now, but we can hear you. Please proceed.
Honorable Chair.
Honorable Chair,
Yes.
in the seeing that Honorable Fisser cannot hear you, she doesn't know that she has to do the follow-up question. So I'll stand in for her. Thank you very much.
Please proceed.
Honorable Deputy President, how will you regain control of ill-disciplined ANC members sabotaging municipalities and in effect keeping citizens hostage without any services, since all interventions failed to date and had no impact to rebuild sound financial governance to deliver services?
Yes. Honorable President, Deputy President.
Thank you, Chair. Well, we agree with the honorable member that the first challenge that we are facing in Maluti Apofong is leadership. The working together of the leadership, the mayor, the speaker, and the chief whip in leading the municipality. Again, it's the problem of all the employees in the municipality, which probably have got a problem. Whether it's the shortage of the required skills, that is one problem.
Sorry, Deputy President. We cannot hear the response because somebody is not muted.
Yes. We'll ask Honorable Ngwezi at the background there to please take care and just be patient because we'll be going back to him. Please proceed, Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I was saying the challenge of leadership, yes, it's a challenge that is facing a number of municipalities. But again, is the distance that is there between the people and the leadership in trying to resolve the problems that are there on a daily basis. Of course, we can't just apportion the blame to the municipality. Of course, our people also are also contributing to the bigger problem by not paying. Paying for the services, whether it's electricity, whether it's water. That is why we encourage them to pay. Of course, they've got complaints of saying the billing system is not correct. But some of our community members are connecting illegally into the system, whether it's a water system, whether it's a electricity system. These illegal connections, they steal from the municipality, they steal from Escom. And as a result, these entities are now currently in dire financial stress. So as much as we are calling for leadership to take up its position, we're also calling for our people to play their own part. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. The next question, supplemental question, will come from Honorable Lihihi. Before we go to Honorable Ngwezi, we'll start with Honorable Lihihi. Just to check one more time. Honorable Lihihi.
Thank you, Chair. Deputy President, in the past, the EFF raised a matter of the division of the revenue bill that has ensured that apartheid spatial planning and economy continue, especially the non-existent economies in former homelands which contribute to the service delivery challenges in municipalities. Municipalities such as Maluti, Apofu, is like many other municipalities such as Tulamela Municipality in Bembe, Buffalo City Metropolitan Municipality that has industrial sites such as Gimbaza and Jackson Fort Industrial, and many other municipalities that have a potential to localize economies. Deputy President, is it not time you allocate majority of taxes raised nationally and should all municipalities be forced to spend more than 80% of the budget on product proceeds in communities?
Thank you very much, Honorable Deputy President.
Honorable Chairperson, it was very difficult to hear the question. The sound was a problem. I don't know whether...
The President will ask Honorable Hihi to please take it easy, slow down a bit, but repeat the question.
Thank you. Deputy President, in the past, the EFF raised a matter of the revision of the revenue bill that has ensured that apartheid spatial planning and economies continue, especially the non-existent economies in former homelands which contribute to the service delivery challenges in municipalities. Municipalities such as Malut Apofu is like many other municipalities such as Tulamela Municipality in Bembe, Buffalo City Metropolitan Municipality that has industrial sites such as Gimbaza and Jackson Fort Industrial, and many other municipalities that have a potential to localize economies. Deputy President, is it not time we allocate majority of taxes raised nationally and to all municipalities be forced to spend more than 80% of their budget on product produced in communities? Thank you.
The question really seems to be that there are challenges in Monodakofung, yes, but there are also similar challenges in areas like in municipalities such as Tulamela, and then the question of allocation of taxes. Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, for that assistance. I take it, Honorable Chairperson, this current administration cannot continuously blame the apartheid government, apartheid spatial planning. We're almost now beyond 25 years into a new dispensation. Now, yes, we can complain about revenue, that some municipalities are unable to collect enough revenue to be able to discharge their function. But that cannot be correct. Because, for instance, in a situation like Maluta Pofo, we've got workers that are working for municipality, working for government, working for, we've got police, we've got nurses, all these people are earning a salary and they're staying within the vicinity of the municipality. All these people are supposed to contribute. They are supposed to pay for services because these people are employed. But all people cannot just behave like they are indigent, they don't want to pay for services that they consume. Well, the grievance from our people is that they are not billed correctly. As much as you are not billed correctly, but you are consuming, pay what you think you have consumed. Then you can query the rest. But for communities not to pay at all for electricity, for water, it's unheard of because municipalities can't continue to maintain the infrastructure, can't continue to supply water. Municipalities can't continue to supply electricity because this electricity is bought from Escom. That is why we've got this problem in Maluti Pofo. So yes, we can complain today that some of the municipalities, their revenue base is low, but let's encourage our people who are working to pay for the services. Thank you, Honorable Chair.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. The next supplementary question, which is the last supplementary question, comes from Honorable Ngwezi. Honorable Ngwezi.
Thank you very much, Yambos, Chair of the NCOP. Your Excellency, the Deputy President, Dr. Mabuza, and colleagues, you have actually, Mr. Deputy President, assisted with one of the problems that are in that particular municipality. For instance, the issue of leadership, both political and administratively. And as you all know, that the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa addresses the concerns we have actually raised, that these are the problems in the municipality. Now, I would like to know from you as leader of government business, whether are you intending to advise MECs and ministers concerned to actually invoke Section 139, 1A, B, and C, if there is no improvement in the municipality, because surely the leadership there is absent on duty and they continue to earn a salary when they've got no work to do. And just recently we saw people, in the streets, in the Harrismith, saying that we don't want to be under this municipality of Maluti Apofong, which means that there are really serious problems in that municipality. So the question is, are you intending to engage MECs and ministers, concerned to actually invoke Section 139 A, B, and C to actually address the problem so that our communities can be freed from the frustration that is there? Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson.
Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Just to advise the Honorable Member that we are from that situation. We have intervened in the past by putting Section 139, 1B. That section went on for almost a year, and it was lifted. But the challenges within the municipality continued. We are intervening now in the municipality just after the lifting of Section 139. So we might want to apply Section 139 in other municipalities. But with this one, I think we failed. The only option available is to get all government departments, get the people. We solve the challenges that are confronting the municipalities, the challenges that are confronting the people. It's one thing to put an intervention that does not bring water to the people. You put an intervention that does not bring electricity to the people. Day in, day out, we are taking each other to court, and that does not resolve the problem. So we are there practical on the ground to ensure that we resolve the problem. I can assure people in Maluta Pofong that they will get electricity, but they must pay for the electricity. I can assure them that they will get water, but they must pay for the water. All the interventions that we're making are aimed at bringing water, aimed at bringing the necessary services, but my request is that they must pay, they must stand up. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Deputy President. The next question is question number 8. This question is on Escom takeover of electricity distribution in municipalities. The question has been asked by initially by Mikalakis, but the person who's now taking responsibility going forward is Honorable Plain Hans of the DA. And this question is directed to the Deputy President. Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Our expectation is that the concerned parties will reach an understanding on the modalities to give effect to the court order in the Harrismith Business Forum and AFGRI operations matter of the 8th June 2021 by concluding a working agreement that is in the best interest of the municipality, best interest of Escom, and the residents of Maluta Pofong as soon as the end of this month, June. In terms of the court order, it is envisaged that Escom will subject to NERSA approval, start to operate as a service delivery agent within that municipality. This appointment is based on terms contained in the active partnering proposal, which was submitted by Escom to the municipality on the 8th of December 2020. Whereas all indications are that a reasonable turnaround time projected for these processes is estimated to be more than the 2 prescribed weeks that are prescribed by the court. Given the urgency of the matter, the Department of Cooperative Governance is facilitating engagement between the affected stakeholders, that is Escom and the municipality, to finalize the service level agreement. These timelines take into consideration all necessary processes of ensuring that parties comply with the applicable legislation and prescripts, which apply in utilizing an external mechanism to deliver services on behalf of the municipality. Thank you very much.
No, thank you very much, Honorable President. The first supplementary question will therefore come from Honorable Clenance. Clenance?
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you. And thank you to the Deputy President for his response. We received a legal opinion from the MEC for Finance in the Free State, which we agree with, that if the municipality defaults in line with what is set out in Chapter 13 of the MFMA, that the National Executive is obliged to intervene in terms of the Constitution. That means that the National Executive does not have a choice. If the municipality fails to adopt the Escom proposal, when will the National Executive fulfill its constitutional obligation of mandatory intervention? Thank you, Chair.
Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. Well, we are no longer going to go that route of intervening as the national government, because already there is a court order that was brought by the business forum there in AFGRI, requesting the court to allow Escom to provide electricity direct. And that order was granted. As government, we did not oppose, because that is our thinking also. So as we stand today, there is an order in front of us that says Escom and the municipality must enter into a service level agreement, and it must be signed by no later than 2 weeks. Today, we have seen the proposed level agreement between the two, and we agree with them. They are just dotting the I's and crossing the T's. So the service level agreement is going to be signed. That is why I'm confident that people in Maluta Pofong businesses will receive electricity. But the onus is upon them now to also pay for these services that they receive. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. The next supplementary question is the second supplementary question will come from Honorable Mkiva. Honorable Mkiva.
Mangibulele sihlalo, ngibulele nyambo zomhle kangaka, ngibulele nakumalunga endlu. Ngibulise kusekela mongameli, ngithi kusekela mongameli, ngiyabonga ukuthi lo mbuzo uphendule kahle kakhulu ngendlela ecacile okwekati emhlophe ehlungwini. Honorable Deputy President, our government has made a provision for providing electricity to indigent families who cannot afford to pay for electricity. However, there are communities that refuse to pay for electricity and thus connect power illegally. Honorable Deputy President, what is the impact of this non-payment for electricity by community members and the illegal connections on the general performance and provisions of electricity to South Africans by Escom? Thank you, that's my question, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. The impact of non-payment for services that are consumed, the impact is very huge because the municipality is unable to maintain the infrastructure that is supposed to maintain that the municipality uses to bring the necessary services like your pipes, like your electricity systems, because electricity is being stolen, water is being stolen. People are not paying. The same goes to Escom and all the water boards that are bringing water to all the municipalities. If people are not paying, that means the water boards cannot continue to bring clean water because they must employ people, they must maintain the system. Now, this principle of not paying for services, it's a culture that we must overcome, and we are calling upon our people to really pay for services. We are going to do our best to ensure that our people are billed correctly. We're going to put smart meters so that the electricity that you must pay for is correct. It's equivalent to what you have consumed. The water that you must pay for, it's equivalent to what you have consumed. Because that was a bone of contention. That was the cause of conflict. But the bottom line is that we should request our people to pay for services is the correct culture, so that those who are delivering the services can do so continuously. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. The third supplementary question will come from Honorable MAP De Bruin. Honorable De Bruin.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honorable Deputy President, we all know the norm of municipalities to spend funds irregularly, especially funds retrieved from water and electricity use that is never paid over to the relevant entities. And we know that many municipalities, especially Maluti Upper Farm, rely on these funds to keep the boat afloat, however wrong it is. I understand and support the fact that Escom is taking over the distribution of electricity in Maluti Upper Farm. But we must also take into account that it takes away the municipality's ability to generate profits needed for service delivery. So my question would be, what measures and procedures have been put into place to accommodate for the loss of income to the municipality? And what is the balance between Escom retrieving its debt and the municipality losing its profits? And if the profit still goes to the municipality, how will the municipality be able to afford to settle its debt with Escom? Thank you.
Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. The intention of the service level agreement is to allow Escom to take over the distribution of electricity, of course, collect the revenue after that. Now, Escom will then give the municipality what is due to the municipality out of the revenue collected, and also take the revenue that belongs to Escom. But in this case, Escom is going to bring the necessary skills that will help to maintain the infrastructure that brings the electricity, meaning the people. But the advantage is that Escom, as much as it's going to bring outside people, these people are going to train the municipal employees that will remain to retain the system. Now, we are going to follow such a model in all the municipalities that are owing Escom, because municipalities on their own, they are unable to pay Escom. So allow Escom to distribute, to collect the revenue, pay what is due to the municipality, and keep the rest. And in the process, probably help and maintain the infrastructure, but also try and capacitate the workers in the municipalities. That is the intention. The service level agreement is for a particular period. It's not going to be forever, because the reticulation, the distribution of energy, the distribution of water, it's a function that belongs to municipalities. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Deputy President. The last and fourth supplementary question comes from Honorable M.S. Muletsane. Honorable Muletsane.
Thank you, Chairperson. Deputy President, electricity distribution has led to economic activities in the area. We have a network of small entrepreneurs, what we call electricity vendors, even though they often sell electricity at an inflated prices, something that could have been solved by regulation and making Escom sustainable. What is going to happen to those electricity vendors in Maluti Apofu? Thank you, Chairperson.
Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. These electricity vendors and some of the businesses, small businesses in the area, are the ones that have taken the municipality to court, because the municipality was failing now to supply electricity because of the standoff between the municipality and Escom. So those people who took the municipality to court are these vendors, are the SMMEs there, and South Africa, AFGRI. Now, this is a clear intention and a clear indication that businesses want to operate, they want electricity. Because they are mindful of their businesses that are collapsing if they don't receive energy. They were advocating for Escom to deliver electricity direct. So this is going to happen for a small duration, probably a period of 4 to 5 years. And then if the debt is settled, the municipality will then take over the distribution of electricity. We hope by that time, things will have normalized. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. The next question is a question on government COVID-19 response and fast-tracking vaccination process. This question comes from Honorable Gillian and is directed to the Deputy President. Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. It is common cause that when COVID-19 pandemic broke, many countries, including our country, moved swiftly with speed to contain the spread of the virus by, among other things, implementing nationwide lockdowns. As the year went by, a risk-adjusted strategy was employed with different levels of regulations, allowing for curbing of the spread of the pandemic and ensuring that the economy works. Of course, these measures assisted a great deal in preventing a catastrophe by saving a number of lives that could have been lost had government not acted in a manner it has acted. It is regrettable that a number of lives, however, have been lost, as well as livelihoods, due to the equal adverse effects on the economy, especially in the manufacturing, hospitality sectors, that led to job losses and the rise in unemployment. As we seek to rebuild the economy and overcome the unacceptable high levels of poverty and unemployment, the presidency is overseeing the implementation of the presidential employment stimulus, which is focused on coordinating, enhancing, and upscaling a range of existing programs across government, and through close partnership with the private sector. In addition, various government programs such as the Social Distress Relief Grant, the Temporary Employer Relief Scheme, have contributed to countering the impact of unemployment inequality at household level. Of course, in the medium to long term, such measures will need to be supported through sustainable employment intervention. We hold the view that it had not been for the united action for all of us as a country, organized business, labor, and the broader civil society, would have been worse off in our response to COVID-19 pandemic. We continue to salute our frontline workers who worked very hard to save lives and prevent further loss. In our effort of saving lives, the National Department of Health developed a plan of action to mitigate and respond to COVID-19 resurgence in South Africa prior to the second wave. Following the second wave, incident management team, in collaboration with the World Health Organization, reviewed the successes and failures with regards to the intervention previously implemented during the second wave. From these, the department identified what could have been done to improve response, including planning for the third wave. The department engaged with provincial departments, provided support in the development of the province-specific resurgence plan, which detailed activities to be implemented to improve the health system going into subsequent resurgence. There are two major components of the resurgence plan. First component is surveillance, which key resurgence monitoring indicators are described and thresholds are defined to enable the close tracking of COVID-19 trends. The second component of the plan is the intervention toolkit, which stipulates actions for 10 intervention areas that includes governance, leadership, medical supplies, epidemiology and response, risk communication, and community engagement, among others. Thus, the measures put in place are the continuous close surveillance of key resurgence indicators and deployment of rapid response teams to targeted areas. In essence, these measures are focused on ensuring that we continue to save lives through close surveillance of key resurgence indicators and the deployment of rapid response teams to targeted areas. The major response area in saving lives and achieving population health is the ongoing mass vaccination program under the coordination of the IMC on COVID-19 vaccines. Initially, there was a slow uptake to vaccination due to limited supply of the vaccines as a result of global demand for vaccination, as well as pessimism towards their use. This has been addressed by concluding negotiations with manufacturers and upscaling government risk communication. Furthermore, we experience regulatory issues with regards to AstraZeneca that was delivered first and later Johnson & Johnson, which cumulatively has impacted on the scale and pace of the vaccination program. Notwithstanding these challenges, we are forging ahead, and the vaccination acquisition and distribution to provinces is also improved. Hence, we are witnessing the rise in numbers of those that are being vaccinated. Further intervention being implemented to save lives are ongoing negotiations with vaccine manufacturers, such as Gamaleya Institute for the Sputnik V and manufacturers of Sinovac that are at an advanced stage. The opportunity of receiving additional doses through our COVAX facility is being actively pursued. We're also enhancing local manufacturing capability through collaboration with the other partners within BRICS, which will enable us to overcome the current pandemic and respond to future health emergencies. As government will continue to ensure that every citizen enjoy the right to life, equality and human dignity as outlined in the Bill of Rights. With the recent surge of new cases, we want to appeal to all of us to continue to observe COVID-19 protocols to curb further infections while working on achieving population immunity through vaccines. Thank you very much, Chairperson.
No, thank you very much. The first supplementary question will come from Honorable Gillian.
Thank you, Chairperson. Honorable Deputy President, thank you for your candid and comprehensive response to this question. Honorable Deputy President, what is government working together with all stakeholders doing to frequently communicate with communities in order to evade challenges brought about by so-called COVID-19 pandemic fatigue, which has seemingly crept into our society, thereby making people to weaken their compliance levels to non-pharmaceutical measures whilst increasing the vaccination numbers to reach population immunity. Furthermore, considering that more than 100 member states of the United Nations support the TRIPS waiver, how are we going to wrap up our capacity to manufacture more vaccines for the benefit of our country and the continent? Thank you.
Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. We are steaming ahead in terms of rolling out our vaccination program. Of course, mindful of the setbacks that we have encountered, your AstraZeneca and J&J. We hope these are temporary setbacks. We are going to get out of this. We are steaming ahead so that finally we can reach population immunity. We want to get out of this problem of COVID-19. And we think it's only through vaccination. We have, in the meantime, insisted that our people must follow the COVID-19 protocol so that we can avoid loss of life, because you are aware that our people are dying, the infections are going high. Mindful of the fatigue, our people are tired of all these measures, but it's no time to get tired. We need to insist and need to persist so that we can save lives, and in the process try and save livelihoods. It's a route that we must travel, because this is a global problem. Every country is facing this problem. It's not us alone. But we are trying very hard to get other vaccines so that we speed up the process of vaccinating our people. we are trying very hard to dispel the myths in our communities about vaccines. Vaccines are meant to save us. They are meant to save life. So all those people who are saying all sorts of stories about vaccines, I think very incorrect. Vaccines are about saving our lives. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, David President. The next question, which is the second supplementary question, comes from Honorable Ngwezi. Honorable Ngwezi.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu Nyamboza. Sakela Mengameli. Ngicela usazise njengabantu base South Africa nezwe lethu esilithandayo ukuthi ingani njengamanje sisakwisigaba sesibili lesi sokhuvethe ku level 2 kodwa ukhuvethe lube selihlasela cishe ngokwesigaba sesithathu. Bengeke yini kubaluleke ukuthi sinyuse ama levels ukuze sikwazi ukuvikela abantu bethu abangabasebenzi bezempilo ikakhulukazi abangakajovi-ke nokho bonke nokuthi sivikele nje abantu balwelizwe in general nathi uqobo sivikeleke Sekela Mengameli. Ngiyathokoza kakhulu.
Deputy President.
Ngibonge Sihlalo. Yebo, ilungu elihloniphekile liqinisile ukuthi isimo sesifo i-COVID-19 siyabhebhetheka ngaphandle. Kubalulekile ukuthi uhulumeni athathe isinyathelo esiqatha ukuthi azame ukuvikela ukuthi lesifo lesi singaqhubekeli phambili. Uyakwenza ke uhulumeni njalo uyahlangana abe elulekwa abososayensi ukuthi hayi uma kwenzeka kanje naku singakwenza naku singakwenza. Kodwa ke konke sikwenzayo sisuke sizama ukuphephisa impilo, siphephise futhi nemisebenzi ukuthi abantu bakhona ukuqhubeka basebenze kodwa baphephe futhi. Sizawukwenza ke konke ukufanele sikwenze kodwa esikwaziyo ukuthi kufanele siqinise kulehlelo lemijovo ukuthi abantu bagomele lesi sifo. Sizozama ke ukuthi sikhulumisane nabanye abakhiqiza imijovo le ama vaccines lawa ukukhulunywa ngawo ukuze phela abantu bakithi basizakale. Sisesigabeni sesibili manje lapho saqhubeka khona nabasebenzi bakahulumeni ikakhulu onesi siyaqedela lapho kodwa sizoqhubeka futhi nabantu abadala ukuthi abantu abadala bakuthole ukugonywa ukuze bavikeleke lapha. Sizazama ke ukuthi sithole ama vaccines ngobuningi ukuze sihambe ngepace engathi iyasheshisa. Uhulumeni ubhekile uqela futhi ukuthi abantu babambisane naye uhulumeni ukuthi bagome lesifo ngokuthi bazame ukuthi basebenzise ama mask lawo, bazame futhi ukuthi bageze izandla selokhu balinde ukuthi bathole ukugonywa. Noma ngabe sugonyiwe ungayeki ukusebenzisa ukugeza izandla, ungayeki futhi ukusebenzisa imask, ungayeki ukuthi ukeep a distance until size sifike la sesithi cha ingathi wonke umuntu eSouth Africa usugonyiwe manje noma ipercent ethile isigonyiwe sesingasho ukuthi sesiyaphuma kule ngozi ebesibhekene nayo. Ngiyabonga.
The next supplementary question that will come from Honorable Mletsane. Honorable Mletsane.
Thank you, Chairperson. Deputy President, South Africa is amongst the countries that have performed badly in terms of vaccination, not just in South Africa. The president has told many forums that he has addressed that. Our people are not vaccinated because there is vaccine nationalism by the Western countries. Can you please explain to the people of Kofimvava, Giyani, Nhlanzeni, Marikana, and Alexandra, what is this vaccine nationalism and what has the government done about it? Thank you, Chairperson.
Honorable Deputy President.
Very much, Honorable Chairperson. Firstly, I must say that the South African government has tried its level best to ensure that our people gets vaccinated. Remember, we received 1 million vaccines from AstraZeneca, only to find that our scientists are saying these vaccines, AstraZeneca, are not capable enough to deal with the COVID-19. We then had to sell them back to the continent. Now, we received Johnson & Johnson. We proceeded with Johnson & Johnson vaccinating our health workers. In the process, we received Pfizer. We are continuing with Pfizer, and the numbers are increasing. As much as we're not moving with the pace that we desire as a government, but we are proceeding. We are mindful of the obstacles. We are mindful of the demand that is out there for vaccines. A number of countries are also looking for vaccines. All of us, to a point where some countries have complained to say we need also to look at developing countries. We must help them to get these vaccines. It's not only those big countries, those that are producing these vaccines, that they must get them first. They must also think of countries that are developing. That message has reached the leaders of the world, and I'm sure there is a very change of attitude in terms of the supply of vaccines. South Africa and India led a campaign to relax the trips, the waiver of intellectual properties. That is a struggle that is ongoing, so that countries that have got capabilities, countries can develop their own capabilities to manufacture vaccines. And we are one of those countries that we are ready to steam ahead in terms of our research and the development of vaccines. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. The last supplementary question comes from Honorable Ryder. Honorable Ryder.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Mr. Mabuza, South Africans have many questions, particularly around the vaccine rollout. And as you mentioned earlier in your response, you said that there are many myths and conspiracy theories that government needs to deal with. Now, Deputy President, considering your double responsibility, firstly as the leader of government business, and secondly as the champion that was appointed by the president to oversee the vaccine procurement and rollout, will you commit to holding a press conference, including a question and answer session, to address South Africans on the perceived failures of the vaccine rollout, especially now as it appears that Minister Mkhize is about to leave office under a cloud of controversy following the exposure of his corruption?
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. I cannot just jet in and talk. I should be allowed by the Chairperson. Now, Chair, thanks for the follow-up question. I think vaccines are generally a challenge in the whole world. They are not readily available for the population of the world. So we have reached certain contracts with two manufacturers. That is J&J. We've signed a contract, and we've signed a contract with Pfizer. Now, you'll remember that J&J is currently facing a hurdle in the United States, where the FDA is looking at the challenge. It's a regulator, and we cannot put political pressure on a regulator because they are looking at the efficacy and the safety of the medication. So we should desist from putting political pressure on regulators that they must regulate and check the safety of all these vaccines. So we are now waiting in terms of J&J, but currently we are receiving Pfizer, and at a very incremental way. I think we are proceeding with the vaccination. Of course, not at the pace that we envisage or that we want. We would have loved to have increased our pace, but because of the availability, we are proceeding with Pfizer. We are waiting for our regulator, SAPRA, to look at these other manufacturers, that is Sinovac from China and Sputnik V from Russia. We want them to conclude their regulatory processes, and we are told that with regards to Sinovac, we're almost at the tail end of these processes. We might get a green light for us to utilize Sinovac. So yes, we're proceeding with our vaccination. We're not going to stop. And I'm sure down the line, J&J will come into operation, and we're going to increase our pace. The suspension of the minister will not probably hinder the rollout of the vaccination. There is an acting minister now in place. She's on the job. She's pushing very hard to continue the rollout of our vaccination program. Thank you very much.
We need a press
Thank you
conference.
very much, Deputy President. The next question is question number 10. This question is on implementation of empowerment models. It's from SF Detroit, and is directed to the Deputy President. Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. The 25-year review by government does indicate that corruption, real and perceived, has hampered the delivery of services and further entrenched inequality and opportunity, including constraining the ability of state-owned enterprises to contribute optimally in regard to the developmental agenda. However, in line with the National Development Plan, which envisages a well-run, a coordinated state institution consistently delivering high-quality services, government has measures in place to prevent acts of corruption and nepotism in the implementation of economic empowerment models, as well as consequence management to address any breaches. There is also a national anti-corruption strategy adopted in November 2020, which seeks to strengthen the fight against corruption. The strategy rallies everyone towards a common goal in the fight against corruption. At a broad empowerment policy level, government has since 2003 utilized the broad-based Black economic empowerment policy as a thrust to anchor empowerment models and enable socio-economic transformation of our country. Through the Department of Trade and Industry and Competition, government introduced guidelines on how to implement empowerment, and these are embedded in the codes of good practice that introduce measurements principles based on the best practice model. Therefore, social partners must ensure that there is accountability in their implementation of economic empowerment to increase the effective participation of the majority of our people in the economy. In case of financial incentives provided by government to individual entities or bodies to support investment and employment, these are provided and regulated through widely publicized guidelines to limit the scope of individual discretion in decision-making. These financial incentives are monitored and are subjected to regular independent evaluation to ensure that they achieve the expected impact. This monitoring extends to cases of corrupt practices like fronting and collusion with the broad-based Black Economic Empowerment Act, which regulates. At the level of public employment programs aimed at contributing towards the reduction of unemployment and alleviation of poverty, the Department of Public Works and Infrastructure follows recruitment protocol in an open and a transparent process. For instance, in the case of the National Youth Service programs, adverts for learners are placed openly to provide equal opportunities. In addition, the learners are selected through an assessment instrument that provides equal opportunities to different potential learners to ensure fairness. For different incentive grants administered by the Department of Public Works, funds are only transferred once agreement with detailed project lists are signed with eligible public bodies. Furthermore, site visits are carried out to verify compliance with the EPWP principles to improve monitoring. These guidelines promote the principle of fairness, transparency, and accountability. Of course, we do not need to be aware that in communities where there are high levels of unemployment and in which public employment opportunities will not be available to all, an impression might be created that exclusion is as a result of corrupt practices and sometimes based on party political affiliation or other grounds. That is why recruitment should always occur in a very transparent manner that can be verified by the community at large. As government, we are committed not only to root out corruption, but also to strengthen the environment in which public representatives and officials alike can perform their duties and responsibilities to the highest standard of ethics and integrity. Thank you, Honorable Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. The first supplementary question comes from Honorable Dutoit.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Deputy President, through you, Chair, I put it to you that these strategies and measures that you mentioned are at the moment light castles, dreams, and fables, with respect. Because the strategies are there, but it's not being implemented. And I'm referring specifically to strategies like consequence management. South Africa is currently deteriorating financial, socio-economic welfare, and the dire state of infrastructure and high employment rate are examples of the failed implementation of unrealistic and discriminative empowerment tools. Empowerment models that are there to benefit some to the detriment of others and the country. Honorable President, Deputy President, do you agree that empowerment contributed to maladministration, corruption, fruitless and wasteful expenditure, mismanagement, underperformance, underspending, overspending, and the collapse of municipal and government structures because the measures that were there to prevent corruption were not adhered to? Thank you, Chair.
Deputy President.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Well, I don't agree entirely with the Honorable Member. First of all, I've said in my response that government has adopted a national anti-corruption strategy that is in place, is being followed. Monitoring and evaluation in all government programs happens without failure. We are trying very hard as government to detect any incidences of corruption. Now, the guidelines that we're implementing are being followed. The Department of Trade and Industry and Competition, which is responsible for all these guidelines of broad-based Black economic empowerment, overlooking that act and ensuring that the codes of good practice are being followed. Up to so far, the department has done very well. They followed issues of fronting. The Competition Act has been followed. Competition Commission. The tribunal has handled a number of cases. So yes, there are institutions that we've created that will deal with any corrupt activities in our empowerment models. Of course, we're not saying this is watertight. But if there is an incident that the honorable member is aware of, it is his responsibility to report that incident to these relevant bodies and institutions so that all of us take responsibility in the running of our country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. The second supplementary question comes from Honorable T.J. Rotisette. Honorable Tim.
Thank you, House Chairperson. Through you to the Deputy President. Mr. Deputy President, since the promulgation of the PFMA some 20 years ago, your inept and corrupt government continuously enacts new legislation or new plans to deal with corruption, sadly to no effect at all. A case in point is the strategic donation from General Electric, channeled via Escom to the Mabuza Foundation, which seems to indicate the going price for overcoming pesky empowerment regulations. How will your latest reassurances to this House today prove to be any different from your promises before? Is it not time to admit defeat, step aside, and allow a proper party of governance like the Democratic Alliance to take over? I thank you.
Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chairperson. I think we must try and correct what the Honorable Member is saying about the Mabuza Foundation. Having received a donation from Escom, if I'm correct, a company that is doing work for Escom called General Electric. To the honorable member and to all South Africans, that has not happened. The foundation has not received any donation from Escom or any companies that are working for Escom. The account for the foundation, it's open for everyone to scrutinize. If there's anyone who has got information to the contrary, we request that person to approach the law enforcement agencies. No money has been received in that foundation. No request has been made to any company to donate. It's quite strange that people can come and just give you a donation, having not requested for that donation. So I want to put it very clear that that matter does not exist. But if there's anyone like the honorable member, looks like he has got information, he can approach the law enforcement agencies so that the right thing is done. The government of the ANC, especially under the leadership of President Ramaphosa, we've tried very hard to rebuild the institutions of law enforcement, and we must really accredit those institutions for the good work that they are doing to fight corruption. Of course, there might be incidences that we can see. We must also help these institutions. We must also report incidences of corruption so that we help them to really deal with the corruption. It's not really to talk about corruption. Talking about corruption does not end corruption. Corruption must be dealt with by the relevant institutions so that it's a thing of the past. Of course, people that are trying to defraud the state will always be ahead of the curve. They will try and read our legislation. They will try and manipulate our legislations. And from time to time as government, we are looking at amending our legislation so that we keep up the pace, we fight corruption. Corruption is not static. It moves with technology. So as governments, we must also move with technology and equip ourselves to fight corruption. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. The next supplementary question comes from Honorable Lihihi. Honorable Lihihi.
Thank you, Mudrasilo. Deputy President, there are some who argue that strategies for the empowerment models themselves are based on corruption. The strategy of empowerment that led to the current President Cyril Ramaphosa's New African Investment Limited that made him a billionaire without ever producing anything is evidence of corruption. Shouldn't the country move towards nationalization of strategic sectors of the economy to allow broad-based distribution of resources so that we have millions of people participate in the economy instead of empowerment deals that benefit the few like it did with Cyril Ramaphosa and few of his friends.
Yeah, there's the question, Honorable Lehihi, on corruption and nationalization. Honorable Deputy President.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I must really upfront say that I'm not aware of the businesses of the President, and I cannot attest and confirm what the honorable member is talking about. All I know is that the president was involved in business and he was doing his business openly, above board. All the businesses that we've supported as government through our BBBEE Act, all those were done in a very transparent manner. I'll be happy if the member can cite one of such an example where corruption was done. A number of SMMEs have been assisted by government, and we still continue to assist them without really selecting these SMMEs. But we must say our people must stand up and present themselves, form themselves into small enterprises, form themselves into cooperatives, and approach institutions of government for assistance. Government is readily available to work and empower and assist our people to grow this economy. But where there are incidences of corruption, we'll appeal to everyone to report those incidences to the relevant authorities. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Deputy President. The last and the fourth supplementary question comes from Honorable M.L. Mushodi. Honorable Mushodi.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson, Honorable President, Honorable Chief Whip Ndate Mohai, Honorable members, good afternoon. Thank you, Honorable Deputy President, for the response. Our government must never be apologetic for affirmative action and other empowerment intervention which are necessary to reverse the legacy of apartheid and colonialism which located majority of our people outside of the mainstream economy. Honorable President, it is also extremely wrong to associate transformation to corruption. Government must